we follow not our inner soul. We were not taught to be free. And so many things as we grow, the society puts into our mind, and instead a natural course, our courses gets twisted into different directions that were not natural. So that unnatural diversions create problems, and we do not become happy in our life. So I start, of course, everything in our life teaches something. To become stronger and, to go to the destiny. So I would like to just let you know in detail how I started. Born in remote Gulmi district. It's a western part of Nepal, on the foothills of Himalaya. You can say even on Himalaya, because I was born almost on 2,000 meters altitude. So in Gulmi district, in a very poor family. The life was very different. Though the life was good, but there was a lot of scarcity of many things. No food, not enough food, poverty, and hard life, mountainous life. There were no vehicles, cycles, nothing, no roads. But life somehow was natural. But somehow, everywhere we need certain guide. Liberty should be there, with freedom should be there, with free guide. So that was not there. Because my parents were not educated. And they had in their mind certain just limited vision. They were not aware of their soul. I mean, of course, somehow we are ignorant in many facts that we possess. So that faculty has to grow with your surroundings. For example, if you want to really a flower flourish, then that flower needs the sun, the water, and the soil, proper soil, compost. So if all things are there, then that flower will come to its topmost beauty and topmost success. So this sun and the soil, the mulching was not there for me. Some was there, but we human beings, we come with something special within us. The nature that has given us, we can say the soul, we can say the divinity. We are the portion of that universal energy, of that power, universal power. So we are the portion. So that portion which is within us, that spark that is within us, it does not want to remain as it is. It wants to enlarge itself and be one with that universal universal energy, which is the part of, which is the spark of that completion of that whole. So when you become whole, then you realize what is the real life. Then you become one with the nature, with the universe, and etc. So there was something in me, which was slightly rebellious, wanted something new. And since I was a child, I was, wanting to do something different than the others. That was my nature. And there were many odd things, I used to, since I was the eldest in my family, and I had to help the parents. And we had little bit land where we can cultivate for our food. We had no connection with outside world. So for the livelihood, you have to grow yourself the needed things. For example, rice or millet, maize, whatever. And for basic needs, for example, like clothes, kerosene, salt, which were not available at the local place. So my father used to go yearly once, and for that he needs money. So only the way to get money was to have lot of butter, purified butter, the ghee. So he used to accumulate like 50, 60 liters of ghee, which was from our cows and buffaloes. And that was the only means to get some liquid, some money. So he has to sell that at the Indian border, that ghee, and he will get money, little bit money. And from that money, he will buy salt, kerosene oil for the lamp during the evenings, for the lamps, and some other clothes, and sometimes little bit sugar and tea that he used to bring. That once in a year, he had to walk for maybe 8, 9 days down to the border, and again come 8, 9, 10 days uphill to the place where I was born in Gulmi. So like that, the life passed. And now I remember certain things I was doing not so good, because some were wrong habits because of my friends. For example, when I used to go with cows and buffaloes in the forest to graze them there, and there were, small plants. They used to, in the forest, hundreds, thousands of plants are there. And, in the ignorance, sometime I will just bend one plant, and with competition with other friend, and I will say, if I, one stroke with a sheath, I will cut it down. So we used to, with friends, competition with one stroke, poor small plants, I used to cut them. So that was not good habit. So nobody told me. So just we were doing such things, but we were with nature. And my father had some property. They were not in one place. They were scattered, We used to say lake and basin. Basin is a place, where you have a lot of cultivations, rice, etc. Lake is high up in the mountain, and high up where you don't grow any food, but there is a lot of pasture for the animals. So during the monsoon time, for 6 months, I used to be away from the home. I mean, no education when I was young, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. I didn't go to school till 10 years, but I was with the animals in the forest. So 3 months in a place where I have made now third ashram nearby. And then 3 months in another place, we used to call that Holbang, that place. So I used to be mostly with the animals. And during the rainy season, and we didn't have umbrella, etc., just we will go like that, sometimes some protection of big leaves that we will put on our head to protect from the rains. And sometime, the animals, the cows were grazing. And I used to be under a big cow to get protected. And like that in the dense forest alone, with fogs everywhere, you cannot see anything. And sometime you might encounter the leopards and tigers, some other types of animals. Though life was not that easy, but still, it will give you something to learn, because we develop ourselves slowly. And when I was 10, for the first time, I went to the school. School, I had to walk almost 2 hours to reach the school, and back to home 2 hours. So it is there that I learned the alphabets, Nepali alphabet, Sanskrit, you can say. So like this, 2 years I went to school, but only six months. So I was good, you can say I was quite able to learn things quite fast. But when I was 12 years old, I found that my parents need some help, because we were 7 children, 7 brothers and sisters at that time. Of course, now we are 8 brothers and sisters. The youngest sister, she was born after I left for India. So I felt that my parents had to work hard to feed all of us, 7 children and 2 of them, so 9 people. And they had very little land to cultivate. So sometimes they have to go in others' land and cultivate and give 2/3 of the income to them. So 1/3 he has to bring only for himself. So it was hard life. Then I have seen that some of the young Nepalese from that village, they had been going to India and coming back. And when they used to come, they used to bring a lot of things like soap, sweets, sugar. And that was very interesting, So I'll tell you how the situation, how the life was hard there. When these people, when they used to come, and they used to make the tea. And those days, only the elderly people used to enjoy the tea, not for young children, I don't know, maybe, or because my parents, they didn't have. So sometimes when the tea they used to serve, so after they used to take the tea, but whatever remaining the tea leaves, so we used to, children, we used to eat that leaves, because it was sweet. It had some sugar in it. So that used to be delicious, you see. So that was the poverty, and that was the life there. And really one has to work hard also. I had to help from my young childhood, my parents. We used to get up almost around 4:30 in the morning, because you have to heat the water and give to the cows and buffaloes. And then till evening 5, 6 o'clock, we used to be very busy. But fortunately, God has made the night to sleep and take rest. And after 12, when I was 12, I said, look, I do not want to be a burden for my family, because now I am grown up. If I leave my home, my father and mother had to work less, at least to feed one mouth less. So that will help my sisters and brothers. They will have more food if I go away, and I might earn something for them in India. So there were some young people who had come for holidays, for a break, and they were returning back to their jobs in India. So I decided to join them without telling to my parents. So I just went with them. So I had to walk for 3-4 days. I was the youngest one. Those who were with me, other friends, they were 18, 19, 20, 23 years old. So naturally for them, they had habit of long walks. So, but I didn't have that habit. So I had to suffer a lot on the way and couldn't walk, but I have to somehow trail behind. Otherwise, I could not catch them, so I will be alone. So somehow I managed. And once I was in Indian border, that is the Sunauli Nautunawa, it's northern part of India. And first time I discovered the cycles, bicycles, motorcycles, tempos, cars, and trucks, buses, etc. So till this age, I did not see a doctor, you see. So when we are with nature, we do not need doctors. Actually, this modern technology, now it says you have to have this injection, that injection. So it is so many unnecessary things. So, but since, when I was born and I was brought up in that atmosphere of the mountain, I did not need, and I was never seriously ill either. Except, sometime we had the, how do you say, fever and something like that, some stomach ache or such things. But my mother, she knew very well how to make herbs, things, and she used to cure easily. For example, if I had some, stomach parasites, etc., in my stomach, then what she used to do? She used to take the ash, we used to burn the wood for cooking, and the ash that was there, that ash she will filter, and that ash she will put, soak into the water, and she will let it keep overnight. So early morning, she will, the water portion is up and the ash is down. So she will take carefully only the water, the solid matter will be down, and that water is quite bitter. And she used to make us drink that water, and the parasites, they used to go away. So you see, the natural medicine, natural things like that, many other herbs also. And nowadays in the same village, we do not have this technology. If we have a headache, people go and they buy allopathy medicine, paracetamol or anything, immediately they get relieved. But that parasite, that medicine gives you many side effects. Many side effects. I can tell you the side effects. Once what has happened, because I might forget afterwards. It was here when I started long many years after, when I started this organization in Kathmandu. I had an opening every year on our ashram's birthday. I had a program in the city. So I had fever. Normally, I never take the allopathy medicines. Sometime if I need, I take Ayurvedic medicine. So that day I had to conduct the whole program and I had to speak to the people there. So I had heavy fever. Then I said, you see, people normally when fever, I do fasting, I don't eat, and then after 2 years, I am okay. So I didn't have time. Since the fever was heavy, I decided to take one cetamal. And when I took that cetamal, went to the program, I suffered a lot. My whole body was burning. It was not easy. Though I somehow completed, it reduced my fever, but my whole body was burning inside. And it lasted me almost 2 days, that burn. 2 days, my whole body. So there are so many other side effects that I might not have sensed. So it was like that. So the life was so primitive and so different. And suddenly when I am at the border, everything is different. First time everything. At the night falls. We were waiting in a railway station to go towards east of India, Nagaland. And suddenly I asked to my friends, here, what is the matter? The night is not falling. And then my friends, they say, yes, look outside of this platform. You see the darkness. Here, because of electricity, you don't see the darkness. So you see the surprise. Suddenly, I realized that there are means even without the kerosene lightning, because kerosene light was very small light and it can only lit hardly 1 square meter. But here one, tube light can light a huge area. And since there were so many tube lights, and I was myself thinking, the night is not coming here. What is this place? So, but somehow I am discovering slowly. Then I went with them to Nagaland. And there in the first night after the train, I couldn't sleep because something was biting me whole night. And I didn't have anything to cover. It was hot also. And morning I told to my friends that I didn't sleep whole night. They said, something was biting, and then they said, it is mosquitoes that were troubling you. So I also first time discovered the mosquitoes. We didn't have it in the mountains, high up. So like this, we go on learning things. And I went to some places just for food, because at the beginning I had to work hard with a family who were from Nepal and who had cows, and I had just for my surviving, I have to cut the grass from the jungle in India and then bring that grass for their cows, and then they will give food. And then after a few days I left them and I went to a shop to work. And I did not know many things what is existing in the city life. When I was working in that shop, one day with curiosity I went away to see what is there in the city, because I was seeing first time big buildings and so many people. And then suddenly I noticed in one place that there were many people on the door fighting to enter inside. and even some are hitting badly, and many of them were full of blood on their noses. I said, what is happening here? Why people are fighting each other? And why the person on the gate is not letting people to go in without a piece of paper? So I was very curious, and I looked from a jar inside. Inside also I see some fighting going on. And I said, what is this? So somehow I was waiting there with curiosity. And since I was just 12 years old, young boy, somehow hidingly I went in. And I saw inside many, many people. And I saw the fighting, even, and someone is removing the mustache and removing the beard and fighting. I said, what is this? I couldn't understand. I got afraid and I came back. And then when I came back, I told the story of that man, the owner of the shop. He said, it is a film. It's a film hall. It's not the real fight. I said, but outside there were people, they were fighting. It was real fight. I said, maybe some people, they wanted to go in without the ticket. So that is why they were fighting. Oh, then I first time realized, my God, it is so many things happening in the city life that I was not aware of. So then, somehow something was happening. Then I left that house also. I didn't like. And the other thing was, I was in the hilly region and working hard. But there, somehow I was not happy, not enough food. And then I left that place, went to another place, and I worked with the laborers, those who were doing some, the work in the making new roads. Those days there was fighting with China and India. And since we were on the border of China in the eastern part, so India was making new roads. And there were many Nepalese who were doing this hard work, breaking the stones, the mountains, cutting the mountains with hand. There were no bulldozers as we have nowadays. So I could not lift big stones. So they told me to help in the kitchen because they had a kitchen there under a tent. So they were all temporary shelters. So I was there cutting their vegetables, and sometimes they will ask something to buy from the nearby small town, and I had to bring things for them like cigarettes, etc. So sometime 1 paisa, 1 penny or something which were returned, they used to give me. And I used to keep that money, and I was happy with that. And at least I had food, enough food. But evening time when I was sleeping, and these young men, they were fighting each other when they used to drink. They were mostly drunkards also. So they used to fight and they used to fall on me. So it was terrible for me. After 15, 20 days, I left that family. I mean that laborers camp. And then I was on the road without food, without shelter. Then after 2 days, I decided to somewhere find a job. Then I went to a family who had a hotel and who had also many goats. So I went to the owner. I said, look, you give me food and I can graze your goats in the whole day in the jungle. So I used to take his goats and I used to help him in his small hotel. And I was again having some food. I was happy. And then what happened? They were making some wine, local wines with rice, rotten rice, and the whole house was smelling bad smell. And I couldn't bear that because I was born in the Himalayas, and everywhere fragrance, beauty. So this was dirty, house was dirty, and I didn't like. And also the honor was not that good. He used to give to his children nice food, and he will serve me the stale food of remaining from yesterday's. So, and some sweets, etc., he will only give to his children and not to me. Though there was, the children, they were very much aware, I tell you, because one girl almost same age, his daughter, and she noticed this bad behavior, and sometimes she used to hidingly give me, some bananas or some food, sweet, some sweet something. So I'm very much grateful to her, and now also I remember, because children, they understand much better than the elderly people the problems. I mean, they have more compassion, more love for each other. So as people, they grow, and with the society, they start following the way, and yours, mine, his, hers, then we bring the limitations, and instead of love, that natural, progress, so that gets stopped, and we invite ourselves the troubles, narrowness, so ignorance, all that. So then after a few days, I didn't like to stay with that family. So again, I was on the road. And days passed, 4 days without food. And sometime I used to count mostly there were many army vehicles going on, trucks with food loaded and armies loaded. So I used to count whole day how many trucks passed, how many buses came, how many cycles passed. So like this. And when I used to feel very hungry, there was a small, cascade nearby. So I used to go there and drink a lot of water, fill up my stomach, and again I come. And again I used to feel hungry, and again I used to go to drink the water, no food, and and during the night time, under a tree I used to sleep. So like that, 4 days passed. And my uncle, when he was in India, my father's brother, he had brought a picture of Lord Shiva and Parvati. And that picture, that photo, he had put that picture just above our door in my village, back in my village, in my house. So he used to tell me that the goddess Parvati, she will help you. She is the Annapurna. See, Annapurna means Anna is the food. Purna is the everything that she nourishes. So she is the goddess of food. She is the goddess of energy, nourishes. So it is she who feeds whole universe. Then suddenly I was so hungry. I said, my uncle used to say that she feeds whole universe. I am hungry last 4 days and have no food, and I am not happy anywhere, because everywhere I see that people are limited. And then you know, then suddenly I saw an old lady coming with some food. She was dressed white. Hair also was, she was so old, white, the hair, white hair, everything. And she gave me food. And I was so, and she told me, a vehicle will come here. If they ask you to join them, you join. And then she went. I was so hungry. She had brought some food on a big, a plate of leaves. And I started eating, devouring, so hungry. And after 1 minute, I was looking back to the direction where she had come. And the way was quite long, so I could see at least 5 minutes walk, we could see the people. But suddenly, after a minute, when I was looking where that old lady went, I must thank her. I forgot to thank her because I was so hungry. And then suddenly, when I looked to the direction where she had left, she disappeared. Then I said, okay, doesn't matter. I have the food. Maybe that Annapurna, the goddess of food, she might have come to give me. Okay, I was happy. And suddenly, after a few minutes, to my surprise, an army vehicle comes with commanding officer in it. And he asks me if I am interested to join army. I was at that time I had almost 1 year during all these times had passed, 8, 9, 10 months. So I was 13 by then. I was quite tall. And then they say, then I decided, okay, it's better to go in army because in my village, there are goats, cows, they were eaten, killed by the leopards and tigers. So, if I go to army, I will have a gun and I can kill those animals and save our cows and goats from these animals. So with this idea, I went to the army. So once I was in army camp, though for practicing was hard, but I was happy to have nice food. And when I was young, when I was 10, 11 years, people used to talk about the hell and about the heaven. I said, heaven is here. In army, you have so nice food, enough food to eat, so many varieties. First time, the food that was like fruits with juice, canned, sweetened fruits, especially, the pineapple, nicely cut and round shaped in the box with sweet juice. I said, wow, this is the fantastic, marvelous thing. So I liked that. And the canned, concentrated milk. At home, I had the milk, not that sweet, thin milk of cows, but though it had different taste. But for me, this thick liquid, concentrated milk was very tasty. And I used to, even one can, I used to finish. So the life, I thought, here is the real life. So you see, I didn't have enough food in my life. And suddenly when I am in army, I have lot of food, varieties of food. So I was happy there. I used to have money. I used to have everything. But that army camp shifted to another place, to Arunachal Pradesh, from Nagaland to Arunachal Pradesh. bordering China, and I had to undergo many other fighting techniques, etc. Dig the tunnels and so many things. And then after few months, I think 1 year from there, we went to Calcutta. So in Barrackpur, there was a huge army camp. Again, there are big buildings in the city, army big camp. And when I was there, since I was devoted to Lord Shiva and Parvati, and I found a temple, and I used to get some time and used to go there and offer some flowers to that temple and put some Ganges water. The Ganges were not far away from that place. And of course in army also they had a temple of goddess Durga. And today it is the 10th day. Yesterday was the ending of Durga Puja. So, I was always joining these people. So in that temple of Lord Shiva, I was a frequent visitor there. And there was a sadhu. He asked me, who am I? And I said, I'm from Nepal. I am a Brahmin, born in Brahmin family, etc. I gave because he asked me from which caste I was. I said, I'm from a Brahmin family. So, and he said, why you are in army then? A Brahmin, he works for the knowledge. But you are fighting. It is the fighting work is not yours. Kshatriyas, they have to fight. And he recites me a Sanskrit sloka of Valmiki Ramayana. That sloka I remember till now. He says, Dhik balam kshatriya balam, brahma tejo balam balam, ekena brahmadandena sarvastrani hatani me. It means, because this sloka is between Vishwamitra and Vasishtha, they had a big fighting. It's another big story. So, but the story goes like that. I go in nutshell, very short. The Vasishtha, he just says he is in the forest. He has a divinely cow with him, Kamadhenu. And that cow gives everything, whatever he desires. So Vishwamitra is a king. He goes once with his big army, for to the forest or to go visit or kill some animals. So he goes. Suddenly he wanders in the jungle forest. They didn't have enough to eat, and suddenly they found that Vasishtha's place. So he went there with whole army. So Vasishtha says was very kind. He said, okay, you can stay overnight. He will procure everything. So he told to the cow, oh mother cow, please arrange everything. So with that power of that cow, created buildings, houses, huts, and many varieties of food. And the sage served everything. Many servants came and they served to the, to whole army and king. So next day morning, king was astonished. He said, what is this? And he went to the sage. You are a sage in the forest. How you could provide so many things, so much luxury, how it is possible? He said, it's not me. It's the cow she is giving. Then he became, he thought that such a gem should be with king, not with a sage. He shouldn't have this. He has no right to have this. Then he says, you give me the cow, because a king needs this. Then he said, I cannot give it. He insists, no, you have to give. Then he says to the cows, because he forces, he wants to take it, and cow looks at sage, and the sage says, okay, you do whatever you like. Then cow, she, from her power, she creates many soldiers and chases away all the soldiers that king had brought, and king get defeated and went back to the kingdom and comes again with a lot of army and again gets defeated, and then he goes for penance, for austerity, to get lot divine power. He thinks that that sage has a divine power, that's why I could not defeat him, so I must get more the divine weapons. So he comes after many years of serious austerity with new powers. But again, when he comes, he attacks Vasishta. Vasishta had a danda, means a stick, Brahma stick, big stick. He hits on the earth that stick. From that stick, he didn't have any power. He didn't just one Brahma stick. He hits on the earth, and from that many divine weapons come, and these weapons destroy all his powers that he had. And then again he became forceless, and he realized that it is the Brahma Danda, means the inner knowledge that Rishi has, that sage has, that he has to acquire this knowledge. He was Kshatriya, he has to become a Brahmavid, means one who knows the supreme truth, supreme reality. So he must know that, and he leaves his kingdom and everything, and he goes again to get that Brahmanhood, that Brahminic knowledge, that power. So in that place he repeats that sloka. He says Dhik Balam Kshatriya Balam, means the power of the Kshatriya in front of the power of that Brahminic power, of that spiritual power, is nothing. All my weapons, extraordinary weapons, were destroyed by one Brahmadanda, by one stick of Brahmadanda knowledge that destroyed all my abilities, capacities. So this outer power has no value at all in compared to the power, that inner energy that we have. So that verse has really changed me. Then I said, what am I doing in army now? I was not much then. By then I realized that this physical comfort and food is not a big thing. So I have to find something in my life. So again, new turning comes. You see, I had a life quite difficult. Then suddenly you are in army, you are happy. Then suddenly, and you feel that this is not the life that I had to live. So then I leave the army. I decide, but it is army rule was very strong. They gave me some punishment. I said, okay, I'll bear the punishment, but I left army. And then I became a monk, a sadhu. The money, whatever I had, I sent to my family, and I wrote a letter also, because time to time I was sending money because they were in hard life, difficult life. And I wrote a letter to them. I said, Father, please do not expect any money from me now onwards. This is the last earning I am sending you. And now I want to live my own life for different purpose. So please, henceforth, I will be not in touch with you either. So I sent a letter and I just jumped into a new domain of life to discover myself, to know more myself, to know more who we are and why we are on this earth. At that time, I was 15 years old and I became sadhu. And though in sadhu, the life is difficult also. Uh, it was hard and I was not happy sometime because I started reading spiritual books. I started learning Sanskrit and Vedas, Upanishads. And then, 6 years passed and I realized many things. I had many visions during those times and I went from one place to another. I was not in one place, Normally sadhus, they go on, roaming and finding new places. Went to Ajodhya, the spiritual place where many sadhus live, and many things happened. Vedanand, how much time I have? 1 hour remaining. Because I will shorten it because I want to more from you people. You can ask questions and then more can come. So I will somehow I will go quite fast because my life is quite, if I go in detail, it will take all day. So somehow, and then I was not fully happy in sadhu life also, because what was written in the scripts, in the Vedas, Upanishads and Bhagavad Gita were not practiced well in the life of sadhus. So at that time, I received a book of Sri Aurobindo, a great yogi, who was great yogi born in 1872 in Calcutta. And later on, he went to England because his father was doctor, and those days India was ruled by the British those days. And his father, who was doctor, he thought that my son should be like an Englishman, because they were treating badly Indians those days. So he sent there for education, etc. So the son will come back to India and he will become a great or big officer in the government. So his life will be better. So, but Sri Aurobindo, he lived there, he studied, learned many things. He comes back, and when he comes back, when he is 21 years old, when he first time puts his feet on the Indian territory, in this Asian land, and he feels something descending in him, he realizes many things, and he starts learning Sanskrit, Veda, Upanishads. Then he wants to liberate his country from the clutch of British by his spiritual power. So later on, they put him in jail. And then in the jail, he realizes many things. And he leaves to Pondicherry. That's another big story. He goes to Pondicherry because Pondicherry was, those days, governed by the French. It was French colony. So there was no British influence. So he runs away to that place to have a spiritual life and continue to practice what he is feeling, what he is supposed to do. So his book, someone gave me a book, his book. He said, I could not understand this book. Since you are reading a lot, maybe you will understand it. So I read that book and I liked that book very much. And I saw behind the book the address, Sri Aurobindo Ashram, Pondicherry, South India. And those days I was near Delhi in Haryana, Bhiwani district. And I was a student of Sanskrit. And also I was teaching in a school till 10th standard. So I was quite responsible and useful person in that it was an ashram. But the book was so powerful, I didn't like to stay there. So I went, seeing the address behind the book, to Pondicherry. So when I went to Pondicherry, something happened in me, and I was happy again there that I have really found a place. But to stay there were many rules, regulations. Of course, you know, some rules, regulation we need. That one has to work. If that time I was 21 years, 20 years completed, I was 21 year running. And I went to a person who was chief, who has the authority to keep new persons. So I went to him, I said, I want to stay here. And he looked at me, I was in a sadhu, you know, beard and hair. And I was those days not wearing the clothes, stitched clothes, just a lungi and one shawl. So that was my life. And then he looked at me, he said, here all are karma yogins. You cannot stay here. You will feel bored. Better you go your sadhu life. Like you, many people have come here. They did not succeed. They went back. So it's not useful for you. Better you go back your life. I said, no, I want to stay here because I have found some energy here. I realize that something is here special. I must know what it is. So I want to stay. I will follow all the rule regulations that ashram has. Then he said, okay, then you have to work here 8 hours a day at least. I said, okay, I will work. So he gave me work in the kitchen and, you know, the dining hall. So the work in kitchen was quite hard. Work in dining hall was quite hard because dining hall you have to wash the dishes. There used to be thousands of people, visitors, they used to come to the ashram. There, in that big ashram, there were almost 2,000 inmates. They were, they were living there together, ladies. And first thing I forgot to tell you, because it's interesting, because when we go into the dogmas, into the things, sometime what happens, it's very interesting, this story. When I was in sadhu, I was told not to have any link with the women. So they say you shouldn't eat food touched by a woman. So you have to prepare yourself. You should lead a life, different life. So that was teaching. So something in me was, you know, inside that was against the women and all these things. So when first day when I was in Pondicherry, when I went to the dining hall to eat, there was big line, so I had to follow the line to have the food. So I was in the line. When I approached near to the counter where they were serving, it was the ladies who were serving food. I said, what is this? I cannot eat the food touched by the ladies. You see, the thing that when I was in sadhus, they have put so many things into my mind. And I went off the line. And then some lady noticed, elderly lady. And then she said, why did you come out of the line? You want to eat, no? I said, yes, but the ladies are serving. I cannot eat the food touched, prepared by the ladies. Then she said to me, have you studied Bhagavad Gita? I said, yes. She said, do you know this sloka, the verse, this verse? So she repeats one verse that says, Ishvara sarva bhutanam hriddesher junatesthati. Means the supreme truth, the supreme divine lives in the heart of every being. That is the sense of that verse. Then she says, if you believe in that supreme essence, supreme truth, who lives in the heart of everyone? You see, he is in the heart of that ladies who are serving food, these ladies. Then somehow she pulled me and she took me in the line and I took the food. And when I was sitting to eat, and these ladies were coming in my mind, it was food is impure now, tossed by the... So, all these dogmas, these things, pollute our mind. So, it took me time to get rid of these, orthodox things. And they gave, the work was given to me. It was very hard work. I was sadhu because in sadhu life, life is quite easy because there were ashrams, you be in the ashrams, the food you get, and there are people, in India and Nepal, they adore us, sadhus like God, and, they give a lot of respect, a lot of money, and they wash your feet and drink the water to purify themselves. So all this belief is there in their minds. So I had a nice life, revered life. And suddenly there I have to work in the dirt, dirty work, cleaning the vessels of the 1,000 ordinary people who came for me there. That time, this was the sense of these ordinary people who do not know, who live only for themselves, for the stomach. So this notion was there, and I was not happy with the work. And in the kitchen, I have to clean big pots, because sometimes 15,000 people used to eat in that dining hall. So we have to prepare food for them. And afterwards, my job was to clean this big handa, big pots, very big, where you can cook like 4,000 liters of rice, liters of dal, lentil, and such big. So I have to clean with this. And those days, we didn't have surf. So there they used to have mud and rotten lemons, because lemon helps shining, So mud and soil and that rotten. And this used to, I had to clean with that, and my hair and my beard and my clothes were dirty. And I said, what is this? No use of staying here or something, but something I had made in my mind that I must know the truth. What is here? Why these all learned, educated people are here? Simply on a short, they have no particular, dress, or they do not have any particular early morning getting up and sitting and chanting the mantras. They are doing nothing such things, but still they are happy, shining, smiling. What is here? So I must know these things. So that thing somehow gave me some courage that I must continue. So there were friends with whom I was working, that new friends who has become there. So co-workers there. So one of them, he said, Ramchandra, you know Sanskrit. Why you don't go to the man who gives the work? You ask him that he can give you a work in the school. It seems, I feel that it's boring for you and you don't like whatever you are doing. Then I said, it's good idea. So I wanted to go to him. But before I went to him, there was a big tree. I love nature, and under that tree and it was very old tree. In life, everything gives you inspiration. Everything gives you energy. So under that tree, when I was passing through that tree, so and then, and now and then I used to be there 1 minute and meditate. And when I was passing through that tree, and I just contemplated for a minute, and suddenly something came from within me. And the sense was this: Ramchandra, do you know better what is good for you than the divine? Then suddenly I said, no, I do not know what is in reality better for me, for my progress. Then a voice comes that it says that the work that was given to you, it is for your progress. So I turned back from that place, and I tell you, after that, I started loving the same work. And I was doing so happily that work, and I got lot of energy, realization, and I liked the same work. So I did 12 years almost continuously that work. And I lived 12 years in Sri Aurobindo ashram. And I used to go to Aurobindo. Many of you might be knowing Aurobindo. It's 10 kilometers north of Pondicherry ashram. And it is the creation of the mother and Sri Aurobindo. Some of the ashramites, they went to Aurobindo, and this was started in 1968. So I was there in 1982. So 12 years till 1993, I was in Sri Aurobindo ashram. And, I was so happy there. And I was really progressing inwardly. I was happy, and then something happens always, And I can tell you one thing, always I felt a push of a hand. From the moment that I saw a lady who gave me food, after that I always felt a push of a hand, just hands, no arm, just a hand that was pushing me. But that hand has stopped when I first time came to Pondicherry. So I didn't notice much because I was happy at the beginning, though difficult. But later on, I realized that anything you do with love, that becomes the blessing for you. So I learned many things because one has to do it from within, because one has to be in touch with one's soul and with one's heart. Then things become absolutely different. And after 12 years in Sri Aurobindo ashram, I met a Nepali man, and he gave me many Nepali books. Because why he gave? I had no connection with Nepal life. I didn't go visit my parents, so I had forgotten my Nepali language, my mother tongue I had forgotten. So a Nepali, when he sees me not speaking in Nepali but in English, he was surprised. And then when he came back to Nepal, he sent me many books in Nepali, how to speak, simple books. And he sent me also a book called The Rise of the Houses of Gorkha. So it tells about the history of Nepal, because I didn't know about Nepal much when I was young. I left, and I was not schools. So when I studied that, somehow I recalled my native place. Then suddenly I realized that I missed the mountains, the cascades, the rivers. I was not attached to the family, but I was more attached at that time to I suddenly felt I want to retread, walk again on the trails there where I had walked with animals, and refresh my childhood memories. So suddenly this idea come, and then I come to Nepal just for visit. I didn't come to stay here. So by then, there were some roads that the walk, that 4 days it took us to reach to the Indian border. The 2 days walk was already covered by the dirt road, and I went in the bus, and after that I had to walk 2 days, and I reached to my place, and my mother and father family were very happy because I was coming after so many, almost 20 years after. So they were happy, but everybody was thinking that I might have brought lot of money, bundles of money, because when there is poverty, you don't see other things than the money. So that was natural for them. But, but I didn't have much money. But if I had money also now, my perception of using money had become different. So I cannot just use the money for whatsoever. So it has some purpose, because money also is an energy of the divine. So I'll tell you one thing, that somebody asked Sri Aurobindo, what is the value of the money? Are we the real possessor of the money? Then Sri Aurobindo, he says that money is the divine power. It's like one portion of the divine mother. So it is a power. Money is the power. But it is in the hands of Asura. Asura means demons. So at present, he says, at present, the money is in the hands of demons. But he says, we, the divine workers, we must bring it back from the hands of demons and put it into divine hands, that energy, that money, so that the world can become a divine world. A divine life can be possible with these energies, positive energies. So by then, my perception, everything had changed. When I was sadhu for 3 years, I didn't touch money even. And I thought the money is bad thing. Oh, I should not touch it. I should not use it because it will take me to the hell, etc. when I was in sadhu life. So 3 years I didn't touch money. And then again I realized that I must use, because it is somehow useful. Then when I was in Pondi, I realized that this is the energy. So one has to know how to use it. One should not be the slave of the, abundance of money, but one has to be master of the money and use it for good cause. So normally we people, we are slave of the money, of comforts, etc. That is why we suffer. We have fear of losing. So when you are above that, when you have different perception for these things, then you feel different. Then you never feel that this is mine, ours. Then you feel this belongs to the world, to the universe, to the whole human being. So that is called Ram Rajya. So then, in the village, they thought that I have brought a lot of money. But it was just opposite. The money that I spent in my home, because my mother was carrying water still, almost 10 minutes walk, and she has to come, and sometime many in the night, they sleep and break their legs, hands, etc. And I said, I must procure some water to the house. So for the first time, I bought a plastic pipe for the family. And with that plastic pipe, from the source to the house, almost 400, 500 meters away, the water, I brought it to my house. Even the villagers who were nearby house, they used to come and collect water. So that was the big comfort for them. And I also felt that this is essential. So people were more wanted to talk to me, and everybody was asking how much did I earn, etc. Only monetary thing they will ask. So I was feeling bored with all the same questions. So I used to walk, not on the trails, but off trails, because I will not meet anyone, but I will be with the nature, talking with the nature instead of the people. So one day it rained a lot. It was month of January in 1993, and it rained a lot on the lower level, and upper levels it snowed. So early morning when I was out, the sun was bright, and I saw this fresh snow everywhere on the big peaks, mountains, tops. So when I was young, I used to walk. I said, oh, after so many years, I am seeing the fresh snow. I must walk on it. So I went. I told to my mother to prepare food. She prepared, and she said, don't go alone. There are leopard, tigers, dangerous animals. You must take someone. I said, no, I don't want to take anybody, because if I take someone, I have to talk. Always they ask all useless questions, and I don't want to spend my life. So I want to be more with nature, with myself, enjoying. So I climbed, it is quite a long distance. One has to go uphill and to reach almost 3,000 meters. So almost 1,000-meter elevation. So I have to cross. And then through dense forest. So trees, during the night time, the snow was there, and trees were full of snowballs. And then when the sun was there, shining sun, and the snows, they were melting and they were falling on me. I was not very much well prepared to go up. I was shivering because almost wet, but I said I want to go to the top. So I went to the top after hard walking alone. I could see many footprints of different kind of animals, and tigers, leopards. I could see many birds, and I had no fear. I said, okay, the real essence is everywhere same. The truth is same everywhere. So they will not harm me. So thus I reached to the top of that mountain. And from there, when I turned towards north, and I could see the gigantic Himalayas, Dhaulagiri, one of the highest mountains of the world. So it's more than 8,000 few hundred meters. Of course, little lower than the highest Mount Everest. So I started, suddenly my mind became calm and quiet, and I was alone there. Only I could hear the chirpings of the birds and the bright sun shining, and the Himalaya. After rain, there was no fog, nothing. It was so clear, crystal clear everywhere. And I was very happy, and suddenly I see something. But before, I have forgotten one thing to tell you. When I was walking to my house, after that 2 days bus journey. On the way, I had seen, I had passed through a very poor village. We in Nepal, we say Kumal Gaon. Kumal is those who make pots, earthen pots. So these people, their village was there. They were very poor and very dirty. They had no sense of cleanliness, I think, because of poverty maybe. So children were almost naked in that cold, and stools everywhere. So I cried by seeing this thing. I cried, what is this? And I saw further that some political people, they were benefiting, from this political people, they were benefiting from, using children for their slogans. And I said, what is this? A country, such poor country, and in such situation, what is this? And then I just cried, and then I thought I must do something, maybe if it is possible somehow, but I was not sure. But when I was on the top of the mountain, when I saw the gigantic Himalaya, and I saw with my eyes, when I was meditating and watching, I saw Sri Aurobindo and the mother in the form of light descending down on the Himalayas. And I said, why I am seeing this? Then suddenly I felt that I have to somehow work in Nepal to uplift these downtrodden children. So give some new ways, new hope, create an environment where they can flourish, they can discover the truth that they have. So I came down, suddenly I never planned, the things never planned in my life. So suddenly, in reality, there is the energy that works through us. Sometimes we plan things, it doesn't work. So, and I just leave it to the time, Okay, whatever it decides. The way is unknown. And then suddenly the idea comes, okay, go to Kathmandu and start something. So I comes down, I had no my nationality card. To do anything, you need some ID card that to prove that you are a Nepali. So by language, I had forgotten my mother tongue, and everyone used to think that I am an Indian. So I made my ID card, and I came to Kathmandu with that ID card and some books I had brought from Pondicherry to give to the university. So I came here in Kathmandu and I created a society. First I thought I will not stay in Nepal. I liked so much Pondicherry, Sri Aurobindo ashram and Aurobindo life. So I don't want to live here, but I will support. I will give the money that I have, and I'll guide them. I'll come time to time and help them. So that was basic idea. And with that idea, I started this organization, and I did not become even the founder or the president. I did not, I did not bear any big position. Then I made someone president and some people, and then I said, okay, I'll help, but you have to work, I'll guide you. And they were okay. And after 2 months, I went back to Pondicherry, and I bit shortened because many things happened in between. So I came back with more things, more books. And when I came back, the place we had inaugurated and had a meditation hall and talk and, to start something positive. First, we have to understand, even elderly people has to understand what is life and how to work, how we should understand the child psychology, etc. Uh, so when I came back, I saw the place was very dirty. Those people who were who were members, they were drunkards, and I saw the ends of the cigarettes and bottles of wines, and it was all dirty. I said, what is this? Then they said, this is the life. You have to give us money and we will enjoy, we will have meetings, this and that. Then I was not happy. I said, what is this? If I start with them, nothing going to be advancing. Then I was not happy. I said, okay, Nepal is not yet ready. So I go back to Pondicherry, have my good life there. So I returned back to Pondicherry. I forgot everything about Nepal. I said I will forget. But when I was back in Pondicherry in my routine, doing karma yoga, meditation, day-to-day routines. So every time I used to concentrate, always Nepal will come. The scenery of children, the problems will come. So I said, what is this? I am not in peace. So like this 6 months passed like that. And then I said, I said to my friends, and everybody was telling, don't go outside, world is like that, you won't be happy. So I was listening to them. But when again and again this Nepal was coming to me, then one day I decided there was a great sage, a big personality. His name was Nirod Baran. He was very friendly with me. And he was very close to Sri Aurobindo when Sri Aurobindo was there. In fact, Sri Aurobindo used to, dictate, and he used to write. So he had very close connection, and he was a real yogi. I decided, I said, whatever that yogi will tell me, Nirodha will tell me, I will follow, I will obey. If he says stay in Pondi, I will stay in Pondi. As others are telling me to stay here, he will also tell me to stay here, and I will totally forget and I'll stay here. So when I went to him, I told my problem that I went to Nepal, started something, it didn't work. I came back Pondi. I don't want to leave ashram, this life, this atmosphere. But again and again, Nepal comes to me and it troubles me. What shall I do? Whatever you will tell me, I will follow. So I am in dilemma. Please clear me. So he went in meditation. 5 minutes passed. He didn't reply. I said, okay, he's not giving reply. I go back. So I was just getting up. And suddenly he opens his eyes and he says, Ramchandra, you have nothing to do here. Go back to Nepal and work there. You see, I was expecting that he tells me to stay here, continue ashram like Pondicherry life, which I wanted, But suddenly when he said that, then I was not happy, but since I had made the resolution that whatever he will say, I will follow. And then I pack my things and I take a train with hard and difficult heart. I leave weeping, crying Pondicherry. And when I came to Kathmandu again, I started alone. I knew that if I go with the people, it is not because they have not underwent all the things that I had gone through. So they will not understand. They only understood the language of money. So, but that will not work. So then I bought a mud stone house where we are now in Thankot, in Kathmandu. And that house didn't have electricity, no water, no telephone, no toilet, no bathroom. So I had to go few months nearby forest to pass my needs, toilet, etc. After a easy life, and started with few children. So you have here Beda. I think he came after 6 or 7 months, who has been organizing this IDEC. All of you know him here. So he was one of the first batch student. Of course, first year we had, I think, I had 4 or 5 children. So the life was hard here, but I was happy to do, because I wanted to really create something, because it is not me actually. I shouldn't say I wanted, but it was something in me was insisting to do this, create these things. So in fact, if you say personally, what I wanted to stay in Pondicherry, but something in me did not let me to stay in Pondicherry. The same energy, same power. So it is that power which was doing here, but I was happy and, started struggling. There were no roads those days. We had to carry from down uphill all things. Water we had to carry. Everything we had to carry, even cement to make first when I made toilet bathrooms. We had to carry from 1 kilometer down uphill 50 kgs of cement on our back, to save little money that I had, because I had to be very careful how to spend money, because how I can feed more and more children, how I can create, the houses, repair and prepare more huts and houses to accommodate more children, and create more facilities, and buy more land, because I had at the beginning very small piece of land. And fortunately those days land was cheaper, fortunately. So some idea came within me, no more construction, but just land. So few years, whatever I earned, whatever I got from friends, some people help, and with that money I just bought land. Now the price of this area land, you cannot imagine. 28 years ago, the price now, it has come almost 300 to 400 times costlier than 28 years ago. There are some small portion in front of our ashram, in front of our meditation hall, that you can see the octagonal shape, I think you can see. So in front of that, we have some piece of land. It's very, very costly. We cannot buy now. So if we are in that, so much costly. So luckily, because I always listen to my inner, intuition. So I worked accordingly, and everything went well. When I felt that now we have almost, we don't have too much land compared to so many people we live here. We have only around 3 acres of land in all together here, I mean, in Kathmandu. So then slowly I bought land, and then, since we had to carry everything from down, I made a mill to grind, dehusk, make rice, like that. Every day some activities, and villagers, those days it was absolutely village. Now it has become a town. And there were farmers here. They used to grow their grains, and they used to come to our mill, and they used to pay. Thus, generating new incomes. And I used to make from the beginning incense, and myself used to make incense, carry in the city. And because we need also means to support the children. So because karma yoga, it is, one should not be dependent on others. Because if you get dependent on others, when suddenly they stop, what you will do? So this all thing, everything I have learned, I have lived in Pondicherry and in Sri Aurobindo Ashram and in Aurobindo. So one has to, so from the beginning I tried to be, give, the emphasize on self-sufficiency and self-sustainability. So like this, gradually I started from 6 children to 12 children second year, third year 20 children, fourth year 40 children, fifth year 80 children. Like that, the children started growing more and more. I was the only teacher, it was so difficult, and I have to go to the city and carry the milk to the rich people's house to have some money to organize, the ashram, to run the ashram, and incense, everything, and start vegetables, whatever we could, and then small guest house. Guests started coming. Whatever they pay for the guest house food, that also helped. So like this, gradually, slowly, and I was never in hurry, and one should not be hurry also, because the time is eternal. So love is eternal. Energy is eternal. It is that energy that does everything. So like this, now at present, after 28 years, so we have 3 places, 3 centers. Another center I made in Terai. That was, I started that place in 2003, after 10 years of Kathmandu ashram. And that I started because you can grow a lot of things, and land was cheaper there. And I set up a center there where we can cultivate rice, lentils, fruits, bananas, because it's cold up in Kathmandu. Down in Terai it's almost 100 meters from sea level. Here we are 1600 meters in Kathmandu, and it's cold here. So we do not grow so much grains there. Here, so there now there are children, the second ashram is there. So, and then Gulmi I started in 2013. Means each 10 years something came, Why I started in Gulmi, where I was born? Because till now they sacrifice poor animals. They believe in the superstition that if they give a small goat, baby goat, female baby goat to certain, I don't know what they say, god or goddesses, and they will have the abundance, and their children will be well, nourished, well educated by the grace of that deity. So this all, by sacrificing this animal, killing these animals, this I didn't like. When I came back from India, when I realized that life should be different. So I want to change all these habits, superstitions. So I want to start that ashram, and I can say, look, I am also from same lineage, from same family, that I do not do any sacrifice, and still my life is good. I am happy, and I could help others. So of course it is in their mind. It's very difficult to take it away. But slowly, the new generation will think this, look, Ramchandra is not doing any sacrifice. So why these innocent animals we are killing? So I think thus the change will come, because it takes time. So this is the thing, dear friends. So now I think I go to your questions. If you have questions, then it will come more. I must listen to you also. I have spoken a lot. Hi, JP.
That was absolutely incredible.
Yes.
I've never
All of you
heard.
can all of you can ask questions. We are not able to hear you, Jerry.
Yeah, I've never heard that whole story. I mean, it's incredible. Amazing story. Amazing story. So many. I have a lot of questions, but specifically, I was wondering at what point Kamala was involved with this, and the rest of your family. When did they come?
Oh, actually, when I was in Pondicherry, when I went to Pondicherry, I didn't know that Kamala was born.
Mm.
Because after I left for India, after that my youngest sister was born. And when I was in Pondi, when I saw ashram school, I could not join school because I was, they used to take children below 12 years old. So since I was 21, I was 20 years old. So I had to work. I have to, become as ashramite. I cannot join. But I used to feel, oh, my sister and brothers, if they could be here in this fantastic school, because ashram school had no exams. They were free to choose the subject. They were free to choose the teachers. So it was so different. And I said, wow, if my sisters, and of course they would have. But later on, when I knew about Nepal, about my family, at the end of, before I came, I had sent a letter and they sent me a small picture of Kamala, very small, and she was very just, and then I said, wow, if I could bring her here. And at that time, my mother also, once I made them visit Pondicherry, my mother and father. And my mother, I told, in fact, that can you please send Kamala to here? I will arrange for her education. But once she visited, when they were doing etc., gymnastic things, and after that, she was not happy. She said, my God, they are torturing the children and they are on their heads. So this is not good. I will never send to this place. So you see, they misunderstood that these physical activities is very important, like running, dancing, So for her it was, so she said, I will not send. So when I started in Kathmandu, then she thought that since my son has come, so Kamala was the first. In fact, since in my family, there were no one were really educated except me. They had even my parents were illiterate. So schools were not there. Just they could they could read and write Nepali. That's all, and they did not continue school. So I wanted at least Kamala to be educated physically and spiritually as well. So that is how Kamala came into the life at the beginning when I bought this place. Even before I bought this place, when I was in Kathmandu, before buying, I was looking a place to buy. I had rented a flat, and Kamala, for the first time when she comes from the village to the city, and I had toilet inside, because in the village life we didn't have toilet. We used to go in the field. So kitchen inside, water inside, bathroom inside. So for her, it was a luxury not to go out. And for her, same, like I was in the city, so many things, there are different things she wanted to taste and try. So after a few months, we had to pay money for, rent, etc. So I knew that if I stay there, the ashram, the vision that I have will be not materialized. So I was looking a place to buy. So I ended up here buying this old house. And when I brought all my things and Kamala here in this new house, then she said, brother, we don't stay here. It is nothing here. It is forest, it's a village. We do not have water for toilet, we have to go out. Better that place. I said, Kamala, this is not our place. That is not our place. One day they will say, vacate it and get out. Where we will go? So this is our place now. We have to make the same facility here slowly. So thus we worked. And when I used to go in the city, she used to go, because of fear, she used to go somebody's house to stay till I come back after selling the incense and things in the city to earn some money. Thus it was like that. So that was the first association with the ashram.
Wow.
Okay, other questions? Yes.
Go.
Thank you. I want to ask, after all of those incredible experiences, what do you think is the most important philosophy or things that at your school you think?
First philosophy is one has to go within oneself. One has to know oneself first. Even Sri Aurobindo, somewhere he writes, the first principle of education is to know thyself. So one has to understand oneself. Who am I? Why I am on this earth? So the first principle of education is to know thyself and surrounding the nature. So one has to know, because we are related with the nature. We are the nature. Whole creation is the nature. So one has to, so our philosophy, our education is based on this principle. So I will quote again another thing. Sri Aurobindo, somewhere he says, the heaven beyonds are wonderful, great and wonderful. The heaven beyonds are great and wonderful, but more wonderful, but greater and more wonderful are the heavens within you. It is these Edens that await a divine worker. So these Edens, that heavenly gardens are within us. So we have to discover, we have to realize that is the real education first. Then the human being become different being, conscious of everything. Then we enjoy really the life on this earth.
So
okay.
To know yourself, what do you do? Do you have a meditation program or something?
Yeah, we have all, because whatever you do it consciously with meditation. Even the final stage, of course, at the beginning we may not feel, we may not understand it, but gradually as we see, because the world is full of illusion, full of many, outward things. So people are more tempted to the ordinary things. So sometimes when they see that there is not much left, first it seems that it is fantastic, it's useful, it's marvelous, but they are inside. Like me, it had happened when I was army. I said, wow, this is the right life, because I thought the food is the essential. I thought the only food. But when I realized that, oh, there are other domains, other joys, not only food. So like this one, everything teaches us, but the core thing, the principal thing is one has to be aware of all those things. Conscious life. Yes, please.
Religion helps?
What she said?
Sorry. Do you think the religion helps to do so?
Religion?
No, not religion. Spirituality, I would say spirituality. Because spirituality is not based on religion. Maybe something you may get little bit from religion, but not at all. Because to have a balanced life, a perfect life, we have to lead the material and the material life and spiritual life parallelly. Materialism and spirituality has to go parallelly, not religion, because religion, encloses you. It narrows your perception, your vision. So each human being is different. But religion, it tries to put everything in one shell. But the nature is different. Nature is, it's vast. So you cannot close in a shell, it will burst. That is what's happening now. So one has to go according to one's, inner realization. When you go within yourself, when you feel yourself attached to the whole universe, whole nature, the course, the way will come in front of you.
Thank you. Thank you.
So,
Okay, I have 5 minutes, please. Some other important questions.
how did Veda happen to come?
Oh, Veda came, I think, after around 6-7 months. After 6-7 months, he came because he didn't have a better school, better life there. So since he was associated with me, and then I thought it will be better because I wanted to create a new society, new thinking people. So, and at the beginning, the people will not believe on me that I will really take care of children, since I was alone and I couldn't even speak Nepali. So I asked, and they were in the village life, they were very, like when I was there, it was same situation. So of course, when someone gets some opportunity to be close somewhere in the city, and everybody wants to go city, even in US, in Europe, everybody at the beginning, everybody likes the city life. Oh, this is fantastic, everything. But later on, one realizes that it's not helping anymore. So in that way, he came, and quite from beginning, there were 5-6 children. There was Ganesh, Veda, Ganesh, Ganga, and Deepak, and then later on Shirjana. The 4 were the first group student, apart from Kamala. Kamala was slightly elder, and I sent her to other school. Yes. Other question, please.
Was Veda the one you told the story about he was 4 and he just decided to follow you?
Yeah,
That was
yeah.
it.
Of course, of course, sometime at the beginning they come because in their life, in their village life, it is hard, because everyone expects that maybe if they move there, they will have better life, better food, better education. So this might be the thing.
So at what point did your mother and other family members come to help you?
Later on, actually, if we go in that story, it will be again, it is very, my sister and my mother came after 2 years, 1.5 years, and then again they went back to village, and again they started coming. Yes. So not immediately, I mean.
I see. Well, that's pretty early.
So about ashram, I think we should have kept it in the evening, this program, but somehow they have put this time in the evening. It would have been many people.
By the way, was this recorded?
Yes, Jerry, it's recorded.
Okay, I would love to have Kamala hear it.
Okay. There is a program in the evening. Swami Ramchandra Das ji is giving a talk in the evening, Jerry.
Who?
He's giving a talk, another talk as well.
Yeah, but not all of this. Well, one question. Who was the guy from the Nepalese guy who saw you and was sending you books and stuff? How did you meet him?
Oh, that's another, because those days Nepal was kingly, ruled by king. So king was the supreme, and there was upheaval in Nepal, and that person was very close to king. His name was Ramchandra Saha, and people in the in the revolution against the government, they burnt his house because they realized that he is the very close to king. So they were not happy. They burnt his house. He went to Singapore, and Singapore he happened to go Sri Aurobindo Society in one of the talks. So in the talk he heard about Pondicherry ashram and Aurobindo. Then he had interest to go to Pondicherry, Then he went to Pondicherry and he was staying in a hotel, and then he asked some of the ashramite people there, is there a Nepali here who stays here? And someone told, yes, there is one Nepali. So I was the only Nepali there at that time. So then he meets. Then he talks to me, and then I was speaking in him in English because I couldn't speak in Nepali. That's how, yes. And later on, he helped me also when I came back, because since once I had lot of scarcity of money, and I just asked him one time, can you help, because since my situation is so hard, and you are interested with the almost same philosophy. Then at those days, he gave me almost around $5,000 equivalent. So that was big help those days. Nowadays, of course, those days are small. I mean, that amount was quite huge amount. So he was helpful. So unfortunately, he passed away, I think 10 years ago, but he was a nice man.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Swami Ramchandra Das ji. Thank you very much for a wonderful talk. Now, the organizers are going live with 200 children of Sri Aurobindo Yoga Mandir. So we have a very special day today. All of us are gathering together for a celebration called the SAYM celebration. It's one of the biggest festivals celebrated in Nepal. So this live streaming will go for 2 hours, around 2 hours, and we'll be taking you through the celebration. So all of you can be there if you are free.
Thank you so much. It was nice to hear him, and thank you so very much. Actually, I'm also one of the school, I do have a school in Kathmandu, and it was really pleasant listening to Swamiji right now in the morning. We do have the festivity going on, but still, in spite of all those, I was listening to him. Thank you, and it was really inspirational for everybody to listen.
Thank you, Bhattaji, R.D. Bhattaji. Thank you so much. Hope to see you. Hope to see you here, okay? Bhattaji.
Sure. Thank you so much. All the best. It was nice hearing everybody.
So your students were listening to this?
Yes, sir. I didn't get you.
So your students were all listening to this story?
No, not my students. I was listening. I do have a private school in Kathmandu, and I was listening to the story because my family, they've gone for celebration. I was just waiting here to listen to end his story, and maybe he has many hundred more stories to tell. It was just you were skimming through his life, and it was really inspirational. Someday I'll visit the ashram one day.
Okay, Bhattaji, thank you. We have to go off for 5 to 10 minutes to prepare ourselves, and then we'll be back. We'll be back with the view of the Kathmandu Valley and the hills on the rooftop.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Even Kyoko, Imai, thank you so much. It was nice talking. And, the nice young, Jerry and everybody. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Have a good time.
Thank you. It was nice chatting with you.
Yeah. See you, Kyoto. See you, Kyoko, Imai. See you.